Welcome back, everyone. Once again, we're back with the VDRA Late Model Series for round number 20 so far into the season, and it's slowly coming to an end. With this round included, we have 5 races to go left in this year's championship, and while Travis Beckner has been slowly trying to break that lead out just a little bit further, drivers in behind like Jaden Freiberger are trying to catch back up just in this final stretch of the championship to see who will be the champion at the end of 24 rounds of competition. It's been tough, it's been fierce. We've seen it get tough and fierce in the last couple of weeks, and we expect it to get even more as the races go on. And we're here at Kern Raceway, Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. I'm here with myself and Connor Horn. Connor, glad to have you back with me.
I'm glad to be back after, I believe, just a week off after our latest crown jewel. Clayton Johnson taking the victory there. We're down to the last 5 races, and this is one of our only visits, if not our only visit, out to the West Coast on this schedule at Kern Raceway. Small little dirt track. Not many on the West Coast, but this is a pretty darn good one, and I'm sure a lot of drivers probably not very used to running this racetrack. This might be the first lap for a lot of drivers in this race tonight. I don't know what's going to be more confusing, learning the track or learning the UI for us, but either way, this should be pretty fun.
Should be definitely a blast to see these guys get out there, and they're already out there. So Dalton Kane already got out and put his laps down. Didn't even get a chance to see it. Travis Beckner out and about, ready to go. We mentioned him, the points leader, and at this point, I'd say the favorite to win the championship, but waiting to see if he can pull it off and get it done. Still have to show up, still have to contend, especially with one final double points race on the line in the future. The last race of the season, championship finale, as Beckner comes flying across the line. 13.2, his first run around. Actually, I think his final run around is both times, so he will be sitting on pole just ahead of Dalton Kane, waiting to see if anyone else can get up and secure that spot. Very quiet out on the racetrack, actually, and as I say that, now finally 2 more drivers head out to get going. Ryan Swan and Jacob Cannon make it to the racetrack.
Jacob Cannon, Jaden Freiberger also gets on track. Don't know if there's any real strategy to waiting here, but either way, we're going to see pretty much everyone go out near the middle to end of this session for sure. Interesting to see how this track develops. It's a very flat, short dirt track. I don't know if you're going to see drivers get to the wall because it's almost just as flat up there as it is near the bottom. So I'm not sure if that will even come in much, but I'm sure drivers like Ryan Swan, we'll see them try to figure it out as a different paint scheme on Freiberger's car this week. He's in 4th currently out of 4 cars. Ryan Swan slots in at a 4.95, so he went a touch faster. As Freiberger's going to go even faster as well, 13.313. That puts him 2nd to Beckner, but still roughly a 10th off as now Jacob Cannon, who we're still waiting to A, get a victory, B, stand up for himself, or C, all the above. But we know he's fast. No different this week, and we'll see what he can do.
See what he can do. You can see him hook that berm on the inside, and typically we see drivers avoid it like the plague, but here you can, on the exit, you can clip it just a little bit, help with some rotation. We'll see if drivers continue to do that as the race goes on, but just a little bit to get some of that car around here. These heavy late models, and a cross line for him, 13.2 up to 2nd place, a little bit under a 10th away from Travis Beckner, putting on a really solid flyer. Looking to see if anyone else can get out there and usurp the 27 of Beckner. He's been consistently up near the top. He's got 8 poles this season so far. And we'll look and see if anyone's going to take away that and prevent him from getting pole number 9 as Bryce Senizek makes it to the racetrack.
He's going to start his first lap. The interesting thing about the berm here is that's not terribly tall on the entrance to the corners, but I think on both exits, turns 2 and turn 4, I should say, it gets flatter, so that's where you can really hook it, and you can get low on the exits because there's really nothing to clip down there. 14.097 lap 1, then Senizek goes 13.644, and then he puts him 6th out of 6 drivers to go, still waiting on Swan Punkeri and Jake Witherspoon, who's always fast. Joseph Swan on the racetrack now after a pretty rocky race 2 weeks ago for him. Got into it with Jacob Cannon and got into the wall in turn 1, so that lap's a bust. He went 13.83, 7th out of 7.
Yeah, looking to see Brendan Kari, Jake Witherspoon, if either of them make it to the racetrack. Neither of them have even put an attempt. We'll see if they decide to start from the back, kind of cutting it down to the wire. It doesn't take too long to put a lap time down, but still need to get out there and get going. And as we just clip 30 seconds, I'm going to take that as a no from them. And that'll leave us with the qualifiers for tonight. Travis Beckner will get pole number 9 for his name. Jacob Cannon, second place to him. Jaden Freiberger line up in third. Dalton Kane fourth. Ryan Swan fifth.
Yeah, kind of usual suspects you'd see up there. Beckner on pole, Cannon, Freiberger. Dalton Kane maybe a little slower than what I anticipated from him. And obviously, I'm kind of surprised Jake Witherspoon didn't put a time down. But he also might have a penalty. That might be why he's not able to put a time down. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
Justin Swan also had a penalty that was no qualifying. But he qualified anyway, so he'll go to the back. Jacob Cannon, I believe, also had the same penalty. I believe he would go to the back.
Yeah, there are quite a few.
Well.
Quite a few. Eldora was entertaining for the fans, not necessarily for the admins. So number 1, 5, 31, 93, and 04. No qualifying for them. So it means a lot of drivers going to the back in these heats. So we'll see how that's going to play into effect for them. And how things are going to line up. Should be scheduled for 2 heats tonight. Drivers are already lined up and ready to go for heat number 1. Let's go through your starting lineup. Travis Beckner starting on pole. Not unfamiliar to state that for the record. Jaden Freiberger will be starting next to him in second place in this heat for heat number 1. Chasing him down in the championship order, running out of time to do so. Ryan Swan will line up in third in number 20 machine. Then it'll be Joseph Swan, who has one of those drivers as an EOL, be starting from the back. And then Ben Picari lining up our field of 5 drivers in the number 35 machine.
See, if I would not be surprised to see him be the first one to get up trying the top side. And Beckner, it should be pretty straightforward for him with a pretty fresh racetrack. Just kind of ride the bottom. Don't let anyone rough him up, get underneath him, and it'll be pretty hard to beat him.
And a long pace lap as the pace track goes off in turn 1. So field left in control for quite a while. In the hands of Travis Beckner. Waits patiently now through turn 3. You can see the sun low in the sky, getting ready to go. A little bit of a jump over the berm, and we are green here at Kern Speedway for heat number 1.
Oh, Jaden Freiberger tried the rough up Beckner, or at least get to his inside. Couldn't do it. Hit the berm himself. Now we're 3 wide for second. Joseph Swan forces his way through. Now Freiberger's back to fourth. A really poor start from him after clipping the berm on entry. Ryan Swan to second. Joseph Swan to third, but only for a moment. Freiberger trying to get that spot back. We're 3 wide again, and they didn't know it. Swan and the 1 car of Joseph Swan came together. The Swans hitting each other, and Beckner's gone.
Beckner's gone. Through all the commotion, back in second place. I think Freiberger just did not get a good start whatsoever. Felt a little bit used up, returned the favor potentially. Now stuck to the outside as Ryan Swan tries to make some inroads on the inside from third place to second. Can't quite get there. Joseph Swan falling off a little bit from this battle. It looks like he's struggling to get that car rotating in the middle of the corner. That's all. Brent Picari to get up in the mix, fight for 4th place.
And he's already on the top side entering the corner, so called that. And kind of surprising to me, not everyone's kind of ripping the very bottom of the racetrack along that berm. Everyone's kind of a groove up in the middle of the racetrack, including Beckner, and pretty much everyone's running that same line as this battle for 4th will go to the end of the session, I'm sure. But kind of surprised at the bottom just isn't quite there.
Oh,
man.
You see the wheel up on Picari, trying to slam on the brakes, get that thing rotated back again. Meanwhile, for second place, Freiberger's taken away. Beckner's really taken off and away. A huge lead for him.
I mean, he gained a 1.5 seconds in the first lap or two while that battle for second kind of sorted itself out. And you see, Freiberger got damage out of it. Joseph Swan's front end got pretty banged up, and Beckner was able to pretty much get away from all of it. And pretty much testing at this point, running the bottom, I should say, and running the middle. It's all working for him right now.
Working fantastic for him. Slides out of turn 4. Win again for Beckner in heat number 1. Jaden Freiberger will come home second place, distant away from Ryan Swan. And then it'll be Joseph Swan ahead of Brent Picari. They'll be rounding out our order for heat number 1.
Pretty interesting. Like I said, the real big surprise for that first heat of the California Classic was that bottom line really wasn't used, and everyone was already in the middle, and you even saw Picari and Swan kind of flirting with the higher part of the racetrack. I'd still be surprised to see that top side really come in, but that was pretty promising.
It's one of those things we always have to see. It's always a bit up in the air when it comes to how these tracks evolve over time. And with a slightly smaller field count, I wonder if that'll also play into effect if we see it take a little bit longer to see the track get a little bit worn out. And then, of course, the characteristics of this track, the dimensions. It's a relatively smaller track, turns a little bit wider, so we may see some guys bottom feed for a bit. Maybe not go all the way up to the wall, but we shall see. As we go down to heat number 2, It'll be led off by Jacob Cannon in the number 93 machine. Next to him, Dalton Kane in the number 7. Moving on back to Bryce Senezak, he'll line up in 3rd in the 09, and rounding out our field of what should have been 4 is Jacob Witherspoon. It doesn't look like he's here.
He is not. I was trying to see if he is in the session. That's
I did see him jump in the
I don't
session
think he is.
earlier, and it looks like he may not be here.
He's not here currently. Could rejoin later. Trying to look at. I don't believe he has a penalty that he can't participate in the heat. He is on probation, but he will not participate in this heat, and he might start at the rear. He might not show up. We'll just have to wait and see.
Let's see. Small and sweet's what this field's going to be. Cannon, Kane, Senezak. Amongst them 3, we'll see what it takes. Green flag in the air and orderly into turn 1.
Cannon, pretty simple entry there. Dalton Kane tried to get to his inside, but not quite able to do so. He's going to force the issue again.
Oh.
He's going to get into Cannon a little bit here, and once again, it's a 93 getting roughed up, and Dalton Kane's to the inside.
Yeah, I can imagine he's really tired of dealing with people's stuff. Another bump once again to Jacob Cannon, who's trying to hold on to this lead, make it to the end of this, get a decent start. Another bump. That's about 3 times in 2 laps.
And we might see a 4th. You can already see the damage on the door of the 93. It's pretty apparent that the 7's been into him, and Senezak's not getting away either, not letting them get away. He's kind of trying to enter high, exit low, as he's still right in this.
I mean, he can sit pretty. He might be in a decent spot depending on how things end up if they shake up the wrong way. But Dalton Kane sitting tight in formation behind him, looking for a spot, looking for some weakness here. And now actually starts to look a little bit to the outside.
Cannon kind of came a little bit lower as Senezak hit the wall on the exit of 2, but 93 kind of cheating up the race, cheating down the racetrack. 7 trying to go up and just find a different way around, as now the 09 starting to struggle, fall off these top 2.
Looking at the sun out at turn 3, feel bad for Brent Pincari. That must have been blinding heading off into the air. It is very low in the sky. As these drivers work 2 laps to go. Cannon, not a great run through turn 1. There it goes. There's the opportunity. Hitting him on the door. Fight for the lead. Coming to the white flag.
He entered turn 1 too low, clipped the berm ever so slightly, lost his momentum, and now Kane's there, and there's more contact.
More contact. He knows this is his best opportunity. Half a lap to go. Kane to the inside. Cannon to the outside. A little bit bump. Pushes the 93 wide. The 7 gasses up, and he will fight tooth and nail. He'll slide in front and will get the win over Jacob Cannon, who is not thrilled with the way that thing ended.
Yeah, he got used up a little bit there. A lot of contact. Cannon did make the mistake, though, to let Dalton Kane close back in. We'll see if that's any penalty. Kane definitely kind of used the door right here. You're going to see 93. This is, I believe, the white flag lap coming to it. He washes up there. Then I think Cannon tries to chop him a little bit. There's more contact there. There's going to be more out of the corner there. And then right here, Cannon drives in hard. He doesn't have the center speed. Kane didn't really slide up too much, but Cannon definitely kind of opened the door and then kind of came down the track. 7 kind of came up. There was a big hit there, and obviously Jacob Cannon's tired of it.
And this is heading into turn 1. This is where it ended up. You can see right there he lost the rotation. Car went out wide, and Kane just had enough of car to squeeze it up the inside. I mean, that's just taking advantage of a perfect opportunity, and doing so will start him in 2nd place.
Yeah, I can't blame the contact there. It was Jacob Cannon just simply making a mistake, and he tried to shut the door. It just was too late. And at this point, you kind of know what the 7's going to give you as far as racing, and it's no different whether he races the 27 or the 225. But it's another case of that 93 just can't catch a break and can't catch some respect, and he's going to start in 4th place.
Good start in 4th here as he watches guys fly around here. Bakersfield, California, Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. And honestly, I will say, actually, as I was looking up about this track before the event started, I thought this is because Kevin Harvick actually had an investment in the track. No, it has nothing to do with that, really. It's the fact that the owners, new owners that took over the track in, I think, 2017, 2018, around that time, decided to name it in his sake for the Bakersfield native, Kevin Harvick, in his name. And actually, even before that, I didn't realize that this track is fairly new in the grand scheme of things. It broke ground in 2007 to replace an aging track a couple miles away that got torn down. This is a fairly new track built.
I definitely thought he at least owned a little bit of it.
Right? You would think with that kind of name, right? Nope. Named in his honor.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but I mean, he is basically he probably is the biggest racing legend from that area. I mean, from all the drivers who came from California, he's definitely one of the bigger names you would have ever heard of, and it's honestly fitting he gets his name on the racetrack where now his son Keelan's racing on the asphalt track in the Cars Tour West Series.
Man, I can't wait to feel so old when when his
Yeah.
son starts racing.
Braxton
Kyle Busch's son. Who
Larson's
else?
son.
Oh, Larson's
You got
son. God.
Jamie McMurray's son's racing. And Jamie McMurray's son is. I remember Jamie McMurray's son after the All-Star race he won 11 years ago, and he was a toddler, and he's racing. Carter McMurray's racing now.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's gonna hurt when we see them on the track. It is gonna hurt.
Let's watch these guys use up warm-up, get ready, and get going. And I gotta say, I imagine quite a few on the 93. We followed him as turmoil, just trying to see if he can get that win, get the monkey off his back. And every week we say it could be his week, but there's always that one driver that just somehow finishes a little bit better. And you look at his finishes, last 5 races, he's finished second 4 times. Dora was the worst of it. I think one of his worst finishes in the series at 12th. So he's been a rough couple weeks. And almost, I would say, second in some ways, almost worse than finishing 3rd.
Yeah, and it's not like he wasn't in contention at Eldora either. It's just one of those cases where he got involved in some incidents and it ended up not working out for him. He didn't lead the lap, but he got kind of taken out by one of the drivers at the front. I can't remember specifically who it was. Then he got into it with Joseph Swan. They ended up wrecking each other a couple times. So that was another issue he had to deal with, which kind of was a reason he finished at basically the tail end of a lead lap in 12th. And now we're at a tighter racetrack where his emotion's probably already high, Dalton Kane's emotion's probably already high, and Travis Beckner's Travis Beckner. So you just never know quite what to expect as warm-up. It's going to go out fully here, just going to get the track really worked in, and we might see a different track than what we saw in the heats completely this time.
And Beckner there working his way around, base focused in, ready to get going. 9 wins to his name this season. Looking to see if he can break double digits starting tonight. And I think that brings him close to a 50-50 win percentage, I think, actually, if he does get that 1 win.
Yeah, 20th race of the season. If he wins, that would be 50% on the dot. To keep that, he would need to win if he won tonight. Well, if he wanted 50% for the season, he would need 3 of the last 5, including tonight. And I wouldn't put it past him.
Definitely going to have his sights set on it. We'll be starting on pole position for this event, so we'll have the best seat in the house to get things rolling in that direction. As warm-up comes to an end here and get ready to start the California Classic, it'll be 50 laps here at Kern Raceway, back to the normal amount of laps for these drivers. A little bit more of a sprint compared to the almost endurance race we had at Eldora with everyone trying to pace themselves. That was definitely a mix of the formula.
With how small of a track this is, 0.33 miles, it's definitely going to be a sprint to the finish. You're not going to really be trying to save the tires. These laps are going to click off in a hurry. You're running 13, 14-second laps, so you're going to have to be very fast, and you're going to have to get to the front in a hurry if you're starting near the back. And this is really the first of 4, I guess you could call them, sprints to the end before we get our VDRA Sim Racing World Championship Crown Jewel race at Charlotte, our final 100-lapper, our final race of the season. That's all the way out October.
Yeah, quickly, things coming to an end for this series in just a month and a half after a year-long run of races. Getting ready to start the beginning of the end here. 5 races to go in this championship as Travis Beckner will lead them off to the green flag. Dalton Kane lined up in 2nd place. Jaden Freiberger 3rd, Jake Cannon 4th, Ryan Swan 5th. That is a solid first 2 rows there. And in typical fashion, I think we typically see the winners usually start from the front, pending some absolute chaos occurring.
Yeah, and usually that's the case. You got Senesac, Joseph Swan, Brett Pancari also rounding out this field. If anything crazy happens, they'll be right there. No Jake Witherspoon tonight, but you're going to have to beat that 27 car. It's proven tough this year.
It's proven tough. We'll see how he's going to make it, how tough he is going to make it. If he can get out there and just dominate in typical fashion, or will he have some defending to do? There he goes in the middle of 3 and 4, off and away at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. We're green. Lap 1 complete. Travis Beckner away in the lead. Dalton Kane a little bit high, a little bit wide. I think it's going to open the door for Freiberger a little bit. Not quite, can't quite get there.
You're going to see, remember, we ran that warm-up completely out, so that track got pretty worn out in a hurry, and you're already seeing the groove move up, probably the highest it's been even without the heat, even through the heats, I should say. Kane's already up there. Beckner's kind of following suit, running that higher line. Exiting low, though, while Kane kind of just runs the top the entire time, and that exit is really working for Beckner. Now he fired it down to the bottom, slid it up, but either way, he's faster than everyone right now.
Right on board with Jacob Cannon trying to move up from 4th place. See Dalton Kane all over the berm. There's Jacob Cannon as well following in suit, and you see he's all over the place just trying to find where the grip is as everyone's trying to get used to the track and a little bit more of a worn out state than we typically are seeing at the start of these things. But that battle for second heating up as Freiberger tries to look to the inside, can't quite get there. And actually a little bit out wide this time for the 7. The 24, he's got the point there. Not quite willing to use defenders just yet.
I think Kane is definitely struggling a little bit, and 24, Freiberger just can't quite find that avenue to get around him, but he's also not really that far off of Beckner. Beckner's not pulling away at this point, but Kane definitely struggling, I think, for pace, and he's got Freiberger and Cannon all over him. These top 4 have separated themselves.
Not surprised these top 4 have separated themselves. Cream of the crop has risen to the top already, and now it's just a matter of them getting away from the rest of the field. And here is the rest of the field, not too terribly far back, but a sizable gap between them. Ryan Swan defending from Bryce Senezak as Bryce Senezak tries to look to the inside. Joseph Swan in behind him, Ben Pincari in behind him in 8th.
And those two stay single file. Senezak trying to get to the inside of Swan. 2 completely different lines from those two. Not quite working for the 09 of Senezak right now, as you can already see that glossy section on the entrance to turn 1, and even turn 3, it's even worse than it is in turn 1, but you're seeing this track worn out pretty quickly.
You see right there that glossiness in the middle of the racetrack, what you're talking about, and that's where drivers are struggling to get that rotation. But here comes Dalton Kane, big slide to the inside of Travis Beckner, he's there.
I think that was the real first run he had at Beckner, and he decided, well, I got to try something, try to get him off his game and go for it, and he did. It just couldn't quite make it stick, but he's definitely there and pushing his stuff.
I think, if anything, just wants to put some pressure on that 27, make him look in the mirrors, make him second guess, try to force him into a mistake. There he goes, another lunge again. They want to force the 27 a little bit out wide, but there's some decent traction out there on the outside of these corners.
Ooh, that's a big slide job. He's going to slide up in front of him, so at least got in front of him there. Gave it a little bit of a shot. Contact at the front stretch, start-finish line, but they keep it straight, and it's going to be slide job after slide job. Kane could not get a good run there, and I think he wanted to get back to the top to defend from Freiberger, but that was our first real challenge, and he tried, but he just couldn't quite keep it in front of the 27.
No, couldn't quite hold it there. That's the tough part. Making that slide is one thing, but being able to hold it, fight the crossover is really difficult, as you really come to a standstill with how tight these corners are. So you have to be very careful on how you make that maneuver happen. As they slowly inch further and further to that outside wall in typical fashion. We're just over 15 laps into this race. Dalton Kane, one of the main real challengers we've seen. Jacob Cannon still struggling to even get around Freiberger here in the 24.
And passing here is at a premium. I mean, you don't really have the room at this track to slide up and try that slide job. That's why what Dalton Kane did there was actually pretty impressive, because you really only have maybe a lane or 2 up to that drive you're trying to slide up in front of, as Kane made a mistake out of turn 4. But if you are not right behind him into the corner, you're not going to be able to pull that slide job off without making contact. So passing's at a premium, and that's why you're seeing these guys kind of running the top side and just trying to wear the driver in front of them down, because if you fail one slide job, you're going to lose a lot of time.
We saw that Kane lost a little bit of time. Now trying to catch back up, gain that lost ground, which is not much, but you know, Beckner is pushing hard and keeping that lead honest. But still got Kane, Freiberger, Cannon breathing down his neck. Further down on the order, some battling going on. Brent McCarry trying to work around Joseph Swan. These two are side by side for position. Whoa, as he Prinkari back off of it, didn't want to get some damage, and that's one way to get the spot back.
Yeah, I think there might have been some net code there, but either way, the one car up into that 7th position and still side-by-side battling for that 5th spot. Swan holding off the 09 for a while here, and Senesac just cannot find that extra gear to get around this 20 and just will not slide up in front of him because he really doesn't want to take him out because they've battled pretty cleanly all season long. But once again, this is a good example. Tough pass to make. Jacob Cannon just slid Jaden Freiberger and almost put the 24 out of the groove and almost took him out completely.
We'll see what happened here. Here's a replay heading into turn 1. Cannon, slide job on him, caused the 24 to come nearly to a standstill. And I can't imagine he's going to be too thrilled about how that went.
The 09 and 20, they made contact that time, but Ryan Swan is not budging. Freiberger's got a lot of front end damage now, and he's out of the battle. And Cannon, even with making that move, he lost a lot of time to those top two. Dalton Kane's still right there at the same time.
You can see that nose bastion there. That's definitely going to hurt him. These cars very sensitive. Any bit of damage you get really hurts the handling characteristics. And, well, for Freiberger, that's going to mean he's probably going to be stuck in the middle of a no man's land. And Jacob Cannon now able to set with some little bit cleaner air. Try to catch up to the number 7 of Dalton Kane and see if he can get around him.
He lost a lot of time in 3 and 4. He's really the first driver to push it up to the outside wall in turns 3 and 4, and it's just not there. He lost about 4, maybe half a second to the 27 trying that. Now he's back to that worked-in groove as we're past halfway now, and once again, he's going to try to get it up the racetrack, try to find something, but he's not finding anything.
Not finding anything. These guys getting slowly separated out as the run goes on. Beckner starting to find a little bit more of his groove, push a little bit of that gap. Height has been really half a second. It has been very tight, but again, the passing has been so rough for these drivers. You see on the entry of turn 3, and I imagine turn 1's going to be the same. It is completely used up.
You can imagine 100 laps here.
Oh boy.
That thing will be used up in 20 laps because we'd even have even more cars, no doubt. As Beckner's actually going to bring it down the racetrack, so he's going to try a different line. Might let Kane get a little bit of an advantage on him. Kane was still slower that time by. Fastest driver of the top 3 was actually Jacob Cannon, and he's still got to get through Dalton Kane if he wants a shot at that 27 of Beckner.
Yeah, and I can imagine he'd be frustrated because he's going to spend quite a while, I think, fighting Dalton Kane. A little bit faster only really helps a bit to catch back up, but we always say catching is one thing and passing is another. And I imagine it's going to take quite a bit to work with, and I think the last thing he wants to do is finish second again.
Yeah, but after what happened in the heat, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a little rough with this 7 car. Meanwhile, that battle for 5th, it might turn into a battle for 4th because Freiberger is pretty far off pace with that front end damage. He's creeping back to Senesac and Ryan Swan. And poor Senesac can't get him yet, and here comes a slide job from Jacob Cannon.
There he goes, and the over and under from Cannon responding. Ooh, contact on the entry of the corner, though.
Yeah, he's already tired of getting hit by him. You see them bouncing into turn 3. How worn out this track is. They're getting into ruts in the entrance of that corner, and Jacob Cannon almost looked like he went to hit him, and it did not work for him. He's going to lose all that time.
And he is, I imagine, not thrilled with the way that ended up. Dalton Kane, I think, happy the way that ended up because he didn't end up losing ground to that. We'll take a look at how that went down. You see the crossover there on the entry.
Kind of just sits on his back end, and then he maybe thinks about a slide job. I don't know if he meant to hit him there or he just got caught between riding behind Kane or sliding him in turn 1, but either way got into the side and it hurt him a lot there.
Might have just completely underestimate how worn down that entry is. I mean, I think from the middle to the bottom, or pretty much next to the bottom, it is completely worn out, so not a lot of grip on the entry to rely on. And after seeing a lot of these guys starting to push even higher and higher up the racetrack.
Feel bad for Bryce Senesac. He has literally been working Ryan Swan over for the entire 40-lap stretch that we've had here, and he just can't pull it off. It might take Freiberger slowing the 20 up for him to get there because they're both going to have a shot at him as Beckner works in the lap traffic.
Yeah, Freiberger not thrilled the way this went. This is supposed to be a round where you can attempt to close that gap in the championship, and coming into tonight, separated by 76 points, made a slight indent last week after taking home a decent finish ahead of Beckner at Eldora, but it was only a small dent, nothing crazy. It went from, I think, 83 points down to 76 coming into tonight. They'll extend back in Beckner's favor if things remain the same over the next 10, even less than 10 laps left to go.
Oh, Jacob Cannon just used the door to get by Dalton Kane, and they're still going to be side by side in turn number 1. Kane's firing it on the outside. Cannon kind of just tried to wrap the bottom or middle a little bit, but can't quite complete this pass.
Can't quite get there. Cannon slide job again on the 7, forces him to roll way back down. Ooh, contact on the entry as well.
And they're not done making contact, but I think the 93 is a little faster at this point. I don't know if he has time to get the 27, but he's trying that different line. He's kind of trying to paint the bottom best he can, and it really worked that time as Punkari gives way to the second place driver. He's going to try everything he can to get Beckner. He was only 100 faster that time by, but definitely showing more pace than the 7 right now.
Yeah,
That's how the pass got done.
Yeah, you saw it start with a 7 hitting the wall off of turn 2. That kind of set it up, and Cannon saw the opportunity. Didn't let it escape from him. Speaking of opportunity, here comes Ryan Swan to the inside of the 24. Freiberger, not much car left to really work with as Swan hits the wall. Senizek hits the wall in the background as he's trying to catch up to this battle, take the opportunity, but Freiberger will remain in 4th for now.
And all he can do is really just defend his heart out because he doesn't have anything to really fight with anymore. So he's going to just combat these slide jobs as there's a little contact there as Freiberger, I think, lifted because of how hard he in the 20 hit there. But now Ryan Swan's got the outside, but Freiberger not giving up quite yet.
He's just been sending the car in there, parking the bus, and trying to keep the 20 from getting that run. Didn't quite get a great run that time. Swan will skate ahead. And I don't want to say we'll secure it, but he'll almost secure it as he almost go 3 wide. We will be 3 wide there off of turn 2.
Freiberger just doesn't have, almost like he's down on power because he's just not getting out of a corner with any sort of speed. And Senizek pretty much made that pass look completely easy right there.
Swan to the outside, Senizek to the inside. Both of them skate around the 24. Freiberger down to 6th place. This is not what he wanted as this battle continues now side by side as Senizek best opportunities had to get the spot, break into 4th place, can't quite get there. He gets stuck in the middle of the corner, struggling to get this thing rotated. Final lap for Travis Beckner in the midst of all this. He skated away 3+ seconds up the road, works his way through turn 4, and Travis Beckner, another win to his name. Win number 10 of the season, Beckner at Kern Raceway.
It's going to be 2nd place for Cannon, 3rd place for Dalton Kane. Looks like Ryan Swan's going to prevail for that 4th spot, then Senizek 5th. Freiberger going to be disappointed with 6th after the contact of Jacob Cannon. But good race for that spot, and Travis Beckner does what he does best.
And dominating fashion as well. Wanted to take a look. Indeed, he led all 50 laps start to finish. That's as close as you can get to domination as you can, really. Hope and try to go on to the, I guess, the weighbridge, but does not work.
Nope. They'll have to take their turns. They'll have to take their time. They're trying to get in there.
They're trying to get in there, but fortunately it's not open at the moment. We'll take a look at our race results as Beckner enjoys a job well done. And Jacob Cannon tried his best, tried to get there as quick as he could, but unfortunately couldn't quite get there as he worked around Dalton Kane, and Jaden Freiberger will end up in 2nd place again.
And you can see the gap's pretty big. I mean, Beckner, when you're not able to challenge him for the lead immediately and he can just save his tire, save his stuff, he's going to pull out a big gap by the end of the race. And shows right there, Dalton Kane ends up 7 seconds off him after hounding him for the first half of the race and just completely fell off. Swan and Senizek get by the injured Freiberger. Joseph Swan 7th, Punkari 8th, the only drivers a lap down.
Yeah, and then of course Jake Witherspoon not starting this event. Gonna need a quick second here. I'm actually trying to figure out how to bring up the timeline in iRacing with the new UI update. Still learning how to do these things.
We all are. I was really struggling to watch different battles. Hotkeys are more important than ever.
It's good in a lot of ways, but still it takes some getting used to. I mean, we've used the same UI for the entirety of iRacing's inception, and
yep.
Now it's finally changing. So a little bit of getting used to, but take a chance here as we can talk to Dalton Kane, our 3rd place finisher. And here we go, Dalton Kane. You got a copy?
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Well, want to talk to you. Saw you there fight hard, fought tooth and nail with a lot of these guys up there near the front. For the most part, single file. Tell us how you managed to pull off a 3rd place finish.
Just holding on. This track sucks. It's 1 lane. Couldn't do anything. I mean, Jacob got around me there because I used my stuff up early. I ain't practiced this track, so I didn't know tire wear or anything.
Yeah, and just, looking at the way this track weared out, was there anywhere to really work, especially to the inside, or was it a matter of just sending it in and hoping for the best?
I I don't know. I mean, I had to send it in because if I drove it in straight, I was tight through the whole corner, and then they were faster either way. So I was just holding on for dear life.
All right, well, Dalton, solid result for you nonetheless. So, although it probably would have liked to be where you started in second place, but still, solid top 3.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
And with that, we'll move on to our second place finisher, Jacob Cannon. And Jacob, I know I keep mentioning every single time. Probably sick of hearing second place next to your name, but we saw you fought hard there. We saw you fought with Freiberg. We saw you fought with Dalton Keene. And gotta say, despite how hard it was to pass, you managed to get it done.
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't even like Kern. Like Dalton Kane said, it's just a one-lane track. And in some stages, you just got to push hard and at least try to make a pass. And if you make contact, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I hate making that much contact, racing that hard, but dude, if you're trying to make any kind of passes like that, you got to try your best.
And definitely, and we were talking about the way the track wore out, and by the end, was there anywhere to really go, especially near the bottom, or was it purely just everything on the top?
It felt like everything was up there at the top because I mean, dude, this car was digging up top. I just wish there was a little bit more laps added to the race instead of 50. Feel like we would have had something. But yeah.
All right, well, Jacob, solid result there. Second place finish for you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. I just want to thank my sponsors, Majulisi Speed Shop, Sweet Victory Apparel, NJB Designs, Schaefer's Racing Oil, Hoosier Racing Tires, Victory Fuel. I don't shout them out enough, even though they're on the car. So there, I got that out there. Longhorn Chassis, David Cannon's Lawn Care Service, CFM Esports, and yeah.
All right, well, Jacob, thanks for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And moving on, last but certainly not least, we're talking to Travis Beckner for the 10th time this season in Victory Lane. Travis, again, somehow, some way, you managed to pull it off. You managed to get that car up in front, and we covered it before as well. Led all 50 laps from start to finish here.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. This track's pretty tough to pass it with how narrow it is, and really, I mean, I'm surprised it widened out as much as it did, but yeah, just too tough to pass. Dalton King got a shot at me that one time, but just when he threw that slider, I think he just burned his right rear a little too much throwing it, and then just plateaued and fell. And I seen them battling up in my mirror for a little while. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to press the go button now. And ended up pressing the go button at the right time. Thankfully, there was no caution. And yeah, it sucks we only got 9 cars, but I understand why. This track really is not the best track for these cars, to say the least. But me personally, I had fun. Obviously, I led all 50 laps, and I had a 3-second lead at the finish, but
almost 4.
Almost 4. Holy cow! I didn't even know it was almost 4 seconds.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, we saw you there. You were close. Everyone was behind you, really close. Was that you managing the tires mostly? I know you're really good in managing the tires in the early phase of the race and pushing later on. But was that you trying a little bit there, especially to keep Dalton Keene behind?
When he threw the slider, I started going a bit harder, but when they were stacked up behind me, I was running the bottom. I was moving around a lot to see if I could find a little bit of something, but I just wasn't able to find a little bit of something until the track was completely rubbered in. And yeah, for the most part, it was safe until he threw the slider. Then I turned up the wicker a little bit, and just after a while, let her eat, and found the groove on the bottom and just held it down there.
All right, well, Travis, dominating victory for you once again in this series, and makes your win percentage 50-50. 50% for you. 10 wins out of 20 starts, so congratulations on that stat.
I'm running out of fingers to count how many wins I got. I only got 10 fingers. But
I kind of wish we were had the win stickers like they do in the Cup Series. You'd be running out of room on the side of your car.
I don't know where I would be putting them at this point. I mean, I might have to start putting them on the deck lid.
Under the name rail.
Yeah, under the name rail. But before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Hendry County Motorsports Park, Central Mobile Home Sheds and Trailers, Cosman from Splash and Go Graphics making this awesome paint scheme, Wilson Race Cars, y'all taking the time out of your day to come broadcast this. No, it wasn't the most interesting race. I mean, there was a good battle for fourth. I was watching that. I'm like, man, they're going at it. Yeah, y'all taking time out of your day to come broadcast this. I'll say it once again. Film blue in the face, best broadcast in iRacing. Of course, gotta thank my dad and my grandparents. But come back here next week. I forgot what track we're at, but we're at some track. It's a dirt track, and I'm probably gonna win. So. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna win. I don't have to deal with 100. I don't have to deal with 100 laps this time.
Yeah, much more traditional sprint to the finish there. Thanks for talking to us, Travis. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, with that's going to be wrapping up interviews here from Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. Guys getting down to business. Travis Beckner getting down to business in another dominating fashion up at the front.
I think he was all business tonight, Finian, and it's probably the first post-race interview where all three drivers said, yeah, I don't really like this track, but hey, we still had some pretty good action. Those top four all on top of each other for the first half, and even the heats with Dalton Kane, Jacob Cannon, we thought that might get rowdy in the feature, but obviously the main story was not the asphalt that you see in that B-roll, but it was Travis Beckner just doing what he's done all season. If he gets to the race lead and it doesn't have to push his stuff, he said he only had to push a little bit when Dalton Kane tried to pressure him, but he really was able to save his stuff for majority of the first half of the race, and once the 7 kind of wore his stuff out, he started holding up the 93. The 24 was taken out of the fight by the 93 a little bit there, and when that all kicked off, Beckner was gone, and lap traffic wasn't much of a factor. I think if you get 15 cars, maybe it's a factor, but not quite the case tonight. But either way, that 27's rolling. I don't see him being beat for the title, and I don't think he sees himself being beat for the title, but definitely an interesting little racetrack, maybe a little too small for these cars, but I still thought we saw some pretty good action, and Beckner, I think his favorite part was probably watching that battle for fourth besides winning, because it sounded like he had pretty fun, and we had fun watching it.
Yeah, definitely some good battles when they were there, especially Jacob Cannon charging from the back, or charging for fourth, trying to get up to the front. Came a little bit short, came in second place. Travis Beckner, another win for his name, but it's not completely over just yet. 4 more races to go left in the championship for 2025 for the VDRA Late Model Series. Next up, as we mentioned, Lucas Oil Speedway on September 24th. It'll be next week. Then lining up, we got Kokomo February, and then the dirt track at Charlotte for the VDRA Sim Racing World Championship, the final crown jewel event of the season. So still a bunch of racing left to go, and I'm sure a lot of the drivers be ready to go to some more familiar tracks and more popular tracks on the iRacing service. But that'll be all for tonight here. My name is Finny Kuna here with Connor Horn, signing out from SimTV. Thanks for watching.